Next chapter is project cost management. Again, one of the baselines, one of the important chapters, just like schedule, just like scope. In cost management, we have got lesser number of processes, but the importance of this knowledge area is much more. In planning, we only have three things: plan cost management, estimate cost, and determine budget. And like schedule, in monitoring and control, we have control cost. Exactly the same function as far as the plan cost management and control cost is concerned. They're exactly like plan schedule management and control schedule. Exactly like. The only difference is 7.2 and 7.3 estimate cost and determine budget. And even estimate cost is in many ways similar to duration estimation. Estimate activity duration, estimate activity resources, and estimate cost. These three processes are comparatively similar. Now let's move on. Cost management includes the processes to planning, estimating, budgeting, financing, funding, managing, and controlling the cost so that the project can be completed within the approved budget. So these are the four processes. Naturally, the policies and procedures are established in cost management plan, which will include the methods how to estimate and how to determine the budget and how to control the project. General guidelines about all of these things is provided there. Again, the same thing. These estimation, budgeting, and cost management planning. Generally, it is thought that it is there's a tight dealing with a single person will be doing it, but still, estimation tools and techniques are different than budgeting tools and techniques, and therefore there must be some distinction kept in these two. Even if the same person is doing it, he must be careful of the fact that the different tools and different methods and techniques may be required to do this job. What is the stakeholder requirement? Project case management, cost management should consider the stakeholder requirements for managing cost. Different stakeholders will measure project cost in different ways and at different times. So as we said, you must understand the needs and expectations of the stakeholders. You see, you are not the only one to measure the progress of the project or measure the cost of the project. Somebody would say, it's the business stakeholder. He would say, well, where is the profit in it? Show me the profit. Another person who probably is more interested towards the intangible values, he would be looking for the benefits rather than the financial increase in the profits or something. So you must understand who wants what and tailor your solution according to that. For example, cost of an acquired item may be measured when the acquisition decision is made or committed. Now, this is very common that acquisition people and the people who are actually working on that job, how do they measure the cost? As soon as the cost is committed by the organization or the finance people, they check it out of the project budget. Whereas the people who are actually working on the project, they would like to consider when the project that work is actually done on ground, they would try to measure the progress of cost progress at that point, because this money has been earned. Some people consider the point when the order is placed to be cost progress. When the item is delivered, somebody would take progress from that. The actual cost is incurred on ground. The cost is incurred. So various stakeholders may have their own opinions, and based on that, you have to understand what mechanism you have to adopt. The primary concern with the cost of the resources needed to complete the project activities, it should also be consider the effect of project decisions on the subsequent recurring cost of using, maintaining, and supporting the product, service, or result. That is, once you start gaining the benefit, realizing the benefit from the project, it should not be too expensive. Because when somebody was creating the business case, it was not just to do the project, but to yield the benefit. Therefore, if the benefit realization is very costly, then probably this project should not have been there in the first place. In many organizations, predicting and analyzing the prospective financial performance of the product is performed outside of the project. Naturally, as I said, it is the duty of the business analyst to create all those feasibilities and all that. If it is part of the project cost management may address additional processes and numerous general financial management techniques such as return on investment, discounted cash flow, investment payback, and this I will be discussing with you slightly. Cost management planning effort occurs early in the project planning and sets the framework for each of the cost management processes so that performance of the processes will be efficient and coordinated. Okay, let us first see how the cost is assessed. It's not only for the cost, this is for any kind of assessment. Whenever we have to make any decision, we assess the problem in three ways. First and topmost is the strategic assessment. Strategy is all about the organizational bigger view and holistic view, and naturally this may tantamount to going for such decisions which may otherwise look infeasible. But because we have made a commitment or we have certain values to uphold or something, we go for those decisions. This is a strategic decision. So in strategic assessment might be very different. Technical assessment, we look at the technical feasibility of the thing, whether it is all right to do this job, is the technology right for that or not. Sometimes technically things are not feasible, but strategically they are feasible, so we go for it. Sometimes things are technically feasible and not economically feasible. Still, we may go for it because technical feasibility is superior than economic feasibility. Strategic feasibility is even superior than technical feasibility. But the interesting part is that strategic assessment and technical assessment both are optional. If they are there, we have to do them. If there are no instructions, then the only mandatory requirement is to do the economic assessment. In most of the cases, it all revolves around the economics and finance. But naturally, when there is a technical restriction, then naturally technicalities take the precedent. And when there is a strategic restriction, the strategy definitely is the superior most thing. And whether something is economical or not, we will go for a strategic decision anyways. What do we include in strategy? Actually,
sir, one question here. Actually, you mentioned them in this order: strategic, technical, and economic. Strategic, I understand, but technically, if there is a project which is technically possible, of course, if we are to take any project, it has to be technically possible. I mean, at the end, you have to deliver it.
Yeah.
But if it is technically possible, but economically doesn't make sense, for example, it is not a good business case or a good ROI case, then why would you do a project? I mean, why the economical assessment is at the bottom of technical?
Just a minute. Okay, let's take the example, something which is financially feasible but technically not feasible. Look at the example of the pace with which the computers technology and the IT technology is progressing. Do you think the latest phones are required? Naturally, they are financially also not economical, but are they really required? But just because it is a trend and the older models are being discontinued, you have no option but to go for competition in the technical market. May it be not feasible at all. Same happened with the
Right.
you wanted a specific Pentium computer, and your job could be done with the old model of 286, but still you want, because number one, this is the fashion nowadays, and number two, the older models are no more available, they are no more supplied. So that is exactly why the technical takes precedence over the economics. And same is
Right.
between strategy and technical. Your boss, your CEO has committed something to an organization that, well, we will do it free for you. Now it is not economically feasible, it is not technically feasible, but because he has given a word, we all have to honor it. This is strategy. And naturally,
Right.
he is not a fool. He must have committed for certain reasons. Maybe it is a marketing gimmick. He is doing free for
Right.
them, and ultimately he is going to get a lot many projects from them. So that kind of thing.
Right.
So in strategy, we have to consider the organizational objectives, the information systems plan, how the organization is structured, management information system, personnel, the manning level, and the existing employee skill base, how well educated people are, how well skilled they are, and how many they are. So strategically, we'll decide according to that. Maybe we are bringing in a new machine which the manning level currently available with us doesn't have a skill for that. So we may have to train them, and training is more expensive than the machine. So image, sometimes you have to upkeep the image or repo of the organization. Program and portfolio management also enters into the strategic domain. For example, a program has more work than a project. Naturally, it is directly yielding the benefits. So a project which is part of a program is probably more important than a project which is not part of a program. A standalone project may not be honored like a project which is a part of the program because somebody is fighting for it. Well-defined program goals are there. All projects selected and tuned to meet the organization goals, and so on and so on. All the benefits of the program are for the strategic purpose. Portfolio has a reverse kind of a function. You have a single resource pool, and the portfolio is looking after all the projects, and all the resources are going to come from the same resource pool. We have demand and supply issues. Which resources are to be given to whom? So therefore, portfolio is prioritizing and strategizing which projects and programs to do, and therefore he can make certain decisions which may not be liked by the programs and projects because that is against their feasibility. But strategically, they are no more important. They may be killed. Technical assessment, we see the functionality against the hardware and software, existing strategic information systems, limitation on nature of solution. This solution, which solution is more open and which is limited, which is causing limitation on our maneuverability, and any constraints influencing the cost of the solution. So these are just, I just wanted to mention the technical and all these things. Basically, what I am targeting at is the economic assessment, which is called cost-benefit analysis. This is the most famous method of doing the economic assessment, and that is cost benefit analysis, and we keep doing it all the time. It is not that we are doing it only for the assessment of the project, but we are doing it all the time. You go to a shop and you want to buy something, you will compare 10 items and then what is the cost of this item, what are the functions and features of this item, what are the ingredients of this item. Especially ladies do it more. So they will compare and ultimately they will make the most sane decision they can make. So most common way of carrying out economic assessment is cost benefit analysis. What does it mean? It means the money I am spending on buying this item, is it going to give me more benefit than that? If the benefit is more, only then you will pick that item from the shelf. Otherwise, you will never get it. Similarly, if I am starting a business, naturally there is a cost to it. So I will only be ready to spend the cost if this business is ultimately going to give me profits. Right? So the benefits should outweigh the costs. So naturally, it all is about the net cost and the net benefit, total cost and total benefit. Total benefit should outweigh the cost, therefore total benefit minus total cost is the net benefit or net profit. So net profit should be positive. Net profit should be positive. Only then we will go for it. If it is not positive, it is zero, then there is no fun in having it. And if it is negative, then it is strongly not recommended. Cost could be classified into three types of cost: development cost, setup cost, operational cost. But to sum it up, I would say total cost means all the expenses you will have on this item, on this work, all the expenses. The development cost is the development of the idea. Maybe I'm not really talking about the project here. When you talk about the cost benefit analysis, this is about the product. So when the idea came to your mind and how you developed that idea, maybe you conducted some sort of feasibility studies, maybe you hired some experts and all that. This is all the development cost. And once you have decided to do it, then the money you spend to install the equipment and all that and set up things, this is the setup cost. And once that is installed, then is the running cost. That is operational cost. As far as benefits are concerned, we have direct benefits which are going to be yielded out of this, which we could see already. We knew these are the benefits we are targeting. These are the direct benefits. And direct benefits could be like something, profits will increase or salaries will reduce or whatever, sales will increase, whatever. Then there are some indirect benefits which we did not plan for, but we are expected to get them, and we can assess them. Like when there is an oil well, naturally we are looking for petrol, but we also get diesel. We also get a lot many other kind of ingredients out of it, which are useful and which we can benefit out of them by selling them. So these are accessible but indirect benefits. Basic purpose was not there. Basic purpose was whatever we went for. And the third thing is there are some intangible benefits which cannot be really assessed. It is not really possible to see how can we assess that. Maybe doing this job gives me a lot of happiness. So what is the cost of happiness? I can't assess. Having said that, still from the project perspective, I would say until unless you can bring everything in the unit of money, you can't compare. So no matter if it is an intangible benefit, try to give it a value. So sum all the total benefits, sum all the costs, and then subtract costs from the benefits, and the answer should be positive. That is the key to it. So this is an example of a business or whatever, where initially when you start it, you do most of the time you are doing the expenditures. You are setting up the business, setting up costs, naturally, initially you just spend and spend and spend, and until and unless there is a time comes when you no more put in more money, or you whatever money you put in, that is recovered simultaneously. So you are not your investment is not increasing. Basically, you are spending 10 rupees and getting 10 rupees. That does not mean that you have recovered all the investment you have made so far. That is just a point where you no more required to put in money from outside anymore. You are investing from your pocket, which you are earning, you're investing. But then the situation starts improving, and then you start recovering your expenditure, and that a point comes which is called the break-even point, where all the money you have invested has been recovered, and now your business goes up, and you are now in profit. After this, you will be in profit. You will rise, and ultimately you will reach a stable plateau. Every business, every culture, every project, everything, every initiative will go through this cycle. They will reach a plateau beyond which they cannot go, because the total capacity of your business or your initiative is to get here. Now, if at all you want to move, you go ahead, you have either to change your business, or you have to come somehow bring some changes, some new target, something through projects, through change management, or whatever you want to do. You can do something about it. But if you don't do nothing, then you will smoothly be sliding down, and ultimately your business will be no more. This doesn't happen in days. This happens maybe in decades, or in matter of cultures. For it happens in centuries that a culture is completely vanished from the face of the earth. Yes, that does happen. We do not have Romans. We do not have Julius Caesar anymore and all that. So those things will eliminate. Greeks are not there. The exact same Greeks, and at the end of the cycle, when there is no business is just going down the drain, if you put in some money, that is not going to yield you any benefit. It will be just a cold start. So cash flows, when we are doing the cost-benefit analysis, the feasibility, we are basically creating the cash flow. We are imagining how much money will we be spending over time, and how much money will be recovering over time. Actually, nothing has been spent. We are just dreaming. So accurate cash flow forecasting is not possible because it has not happened. Needs to be done early in the project life cycle, as if we can make a decision. Benefits we are targeting, they might be too far away. Ignore effects of inflation as it increases uncertainty. If expenditure increases, so does the income. Therefore, you can ignore inflation at this stage. Now let's take the example. These are 4 different projects, and you have invested certain amounts in each project. That is shown here next to year 0. And you are recovering certain amounts at the end of every year. For project 1, your investment is 100,000, and you are recovering for the first 3 years 10,000 per year. 4th year you are recovering 20,000, and 5th year you are recovering 100,000. So how much you have put in and how much you have recovered? You have put in 100,000 and you have recovered 150,000. That means that you have recovered 50,000 more. This simple and straight calculation is called net profit. It may not be accurate. It may be done in a better fashion, but net profit just gives you a semblance of sensibility that yes, this plus minus total benefit, net profit is equal to total benefit minus total total cost. So this is a simple formula, but naturally we may have our reservations about it. For example, in project 2, you can see we invested 1 million, 10 times more than project 1. And what is the net profit? 100,000. That is just double of the project 1, which is not good enough. But apparently, if I look at the net profit figures of all the 4 projects, I see project 2 looks like the best one. So this probably is not a very true picture, but still this is one method. Net profit is one of the methods of evaluation. What are the other methods? We have payback period. We have ROI, return on investment. We have NPV, net present value. We have IRR, internal rate of return. So I will try to tell you these things in a very layman language, not the language of a financial person, but in a very layman language. Net profit we have already discussed. It is just adding up all the benefits and all the costs, and the difference should be positive. So simply by the fact that it is positive, it is feasible. But then if I am comparing more than one project, so whichever gives me the most, that should be my choice. Yes, of course. But this, as I said, this method is not really very good, because firstly, I told you, project 2 seems like the best project, but project 2 may not be the best because too much of investment is there. Then look at it, project 1 and 3 have same net profit of 50,000, same investment of 100,000, but the pattern in which the money is being recovered is very different. So we understand that net profit cannot differentiate between these two patterns, and therefore it is giving the same answer. Then we have got the other method which is called payback. Payback is whichever project recovers the invested amount the earliest is the best project. I'm not saying this is always the case. It just depends upon what you are doing and what is more important to you. If I have started a business and I have taken loan from bank for this business, and loan is being very, the interest rate is very high, probably my intention would be to pay back the loan as soon as possible, because after I pay back the loan, the business is mine. That means after that, even if the profits are slow, but still I own them. So I want to get rid of the loan as soon as possible. That's why payback period, whichever project is recovering my money earliest, I would go for that. In cases, 100,000 is not recovered even in 4.5 years. In project 2, again, it takes almost more than 4 years. Project 3, 100,000 is recovered in 3.25 years. In project 4, it took completely 4 years. So, practically speaking, 3 and 4 are contenders and 3 is the best. So, project 3 is best from the point of view of payback period. Next is return on investment. Now, return on investment is very well pampered kind of a method, but this is not something really very great. This is just an average of your profits. Whatever profits you had been getting, like 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, all of the money, all of the net profit you have got. Net profit, you want to divide the net profit into 5 years. So you have 50,000. So what is per year average profit? That is divided by 5. This is 10,000 rupees. So as compared to the total investment, how much is it? So it comes out to be 10%. Remember, this is not the interest rate. This is not at all comparable with the bank rate. This is just the return on investment. You have invested 100,000, you get back 10%. So 10% is an average figure. This is not an accurate figure. This is as bad as the net profit. But the slight difference is that it takes into account how much money has been put in. So when I compare this, I find that project 2, which was best in net profit, has proven to be worst project because its ROI is just 2%. Project 1 and 3 both have ROI of 10%, meaning what? That the difference between project 1 and 3 is still not visible.
Sir, can I ask a question here?
Yes, please.
Here, can you kindly explain how this figure has come up? For example, 10% for project 3 or project 1. How this 10% has come up, for example?
We know what is the net profit for project 1. We know what is the net profit for project 1.
Yes, we do.
How much is that?
This is 50,000, right?
Over how many years?
It is over 5 years.
So what is per year?
Okay. So the question is it only considering year number 5 or is it considering overall calculation?
Or overall. It is an average. So and it says average annual profit. Average annual profit divided by total investment. Divided by total investment. This gives you the percentage.
Okay, right, that's fine.
So this was ROI. Then we move on to a good method, that is net present value. Now this is exactly what we call value of money. Value of money. You see, value of money does not remain the same. The 100,000 rupees you have today is not equal to 100,000 rupees you will have a year later, or you had a year earlier. Do you understand this point?
Yes, I understand.
So today what you are holding, if you invest it in the bank, it will increase after 1 year. Similarly, if you are expecting some money in future, if I ask that person to give it to me now, he will give me less money, not exactly the same money. So,
right.
If you are aware about the compound interest, do you understand what the compound interest is?
Yes. So, yes.
I am trying to find the future value of money I have today. I have 100,000 rupees. I know the bank rate is 10%. What do you think I will get at the end of first year?
It will be 100,000 plus 10,000, 110,000.
110,000. What will I get at the end of 2 years?
It will be 121,000.
21, because the 10,000 in the bank will give me, 100,000 will remain in the bank and give me another 10,000. The previous 10,000 which I got give me another 1,000, and that makes 1,21,000.
Yes.
And this will keep repeating that, and our interest will be compounded.
Yes.
Now, this is money is increasing. What if we expect money to be coming to us after so many years? What is the present value of that money? We have to reverse calculate this formula.
It will be.
Say.
Okay. Yes.
I'll try to conclude. If you have bank rate is 10%, and you have 100,000 rupees expected after 1 year, what is the present worth of your 100,000 rupees?
So we have to do some reverse calculation to calculate that value.
Right. Let me do that for you. Okay. First, let us calculate forward. I have 100,000 rupees I keep in the bank. So the present value is 100,000 at the rate of 10%. Future value will be present value multiplied by 1 plus interest rate raised to the power number of years. Right? So that would be
Right.
100,000 multiplied by 1 plus 10%, say after 5 years. That would be
Right.
multiplied by 1 plus 10 by 100 raised to power 5, which means 1.1 raised to the power 5 into 100,000. So this is a simple formula. If I calculate this, I'll find the future value. Now let us reverse this formula. So present value is equal to future value divided by 1 plus r raised to the power t. Why I'm saying r and t? I just want to have different figures for reverse calculation.
Differentiate between the two.
Differentiate, and basically the rates are also different. The
Yes.
National Bank of Pakistan, State Bank of Pakistan issues two rates. One is the interest rate, one is the discount rate. Interest rate is
Right.
moving forward and discount rate is moving backward. Both are different.
Right.
So R stands for the discount rate. And T here again is the time. So let us calculate it this way. Let me. Okay, so present value is equal to future value divided by 1 plus R raised to the power T. Can I write it like that? Future value is multiplied by 1 divided by 1 plus R raised to the power T. Is it okay with you?
Yes.
Why I have done that? I wanted to separate this portion from
Right.
future value. Why? Because here if I separate it, I have got nothing in it. Only two values, R and T. Right? So this is
Yes.
called discount factor. The R was the discount rate. This is the discount factor. Discount factor is 1 divided by 1 plus R raised to power T. So what if I can take different values of R and different values of T? Say this is T. I say T is 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, and R is 5%, 6%, 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%. So I put the value of T and R here and I'll get some values here.
Right.
Now whatever value I get, if I simply multiply that value by future value, I will get the present value. right? I don't have to get involved in many very complicated calculations. I just need to have this table,
Yes.
and all of this can be calculated. So, for example, at
Yes.
10%, it is 0.9091. After 1 year, 9091. So, if I put it here, that gives me, if I put 100,000 rupees in bank, I'm expecting 100,000 in future, what should I have right now? How much should I invest as if I can get $100,000 only? That is not, that is 90,910 rupees. 1 lakh multiplied by 0.9091. And this is exactly what I want.
Right.
Just a minute. This is what is written here. Present value is future value divided by 1 plus RT. 1 divided by 1 plus RT is the discount factor. This is the discount factor. R is the discount rate and T is the number of years. And 0.9091 is the value against year 1 and 10%. So 5 years, you will pick this figure 6209.6209. So this, if you multiply by 100,000, you will get 62,090 rupees. So 1 lakh rupees after 5 years are worth only 62,090 rupees. 1 lakh rupees at 5% after 20 years is now worth only 37,690 rupees. You understand this?
Yes, I understand this point.
Okay. And if you want to calculate it in other way, let me try that also. If I put 100,000 in bank today at 10%, it will be 110,000. So if I expect 100,000 in bank after 1 year, how much should I invest? So cross multiply, you will get is equal to 1 lakh into 1 lakh divided by 1.1 lakh. This, if you solve, it will give you 90,910. Got it? This is
Right.
the present value. Sorry, these are the present. These are the future values. This is done.
Right.
Okay. So, if I try to use this table to calculate my first project, project 1. Okay, now answer me one more thing. You are investing 100,000 rupees for project 1. What is the rate? The discount rate is 10%. What is the present value of this money? Do you know?
Sorry, your voice is breaking, honestly, and I cannot understand.
Okay. I am asking you. I am investing 100,000 rupees, and the discount rate is 10%.
Okay.
The present value of this 100,000 rupees.
For how long you are investing this?
For how long?
I mean,
I'm not asking for the interest rate. I'm not investing for future. I'm saying,
okay.
how much is the worth of this money? This is a business. I am investing 100,000 on this business. I will be retrieving this money in future. But this 100,000, no, I need to convert everything to present value. What is the present value of this? What is the present value of this? What is the present value of this? What is the present value of this 100,000 which I am investing right now?
Currently, it is the same value. It's 100,000.
Exactly, that was the trick. Because I am investing it today, so this is the money I have.
Right.
So even if
right.
formula and in place of t time you write 0, you will still get, anything raised to the power 0 is 1. So you will still get the same amount.
Yes.
So here is the answer is 1.
Right.
So my investment is minus 100. The money I am getting, 10,000 rupees I am getting after 1 year is worth now 9,091 rupees. 10,000 rupees after 2 years I am getting is worth today 8,264, and so on and so forth. The sum total of everything comes out to be hardly 618 pounds, which is pathetic. There is no fun from the NPV point of view. There is no fun in investing in this project. Though it is beneficial, but it is giving us too low a value. So using this method, I calculate all my 4 projects. Project 1 you have seen is about $618 pounds. Project 2, which was the best project in net profit, which was not good in ROI, this method is at a loss of 1,79,750 rupees. Big loss. Very bad product.
Sir, sorry, actually last 30 seconds I lost you. I could not hear you. Last 30 seconds or so.
Okay, this slide I am talking about the formula I used here, the method I used here for converting all the values to present value and then finding the net present value. This one. Finding the net present value. Are you hearing me?
Yes, now I can hear.
Okay. So I am trying to use the same formula here to calculate all the projects. Project 1 is naturally worth about 600 something. Project 2 is in minus. So the net present value of project 2 is minus 179,000. Project 3 is 13,723. Project 4 is 21,665. So what do we see? We see project 2 is the worst project as far as net profit is concerned. We see project 4 is the best project as far as net present value is concerned. And we also see that project 1 and project 3 are remarkably different. Although we have seen they had same net profit, they had same ROI, but NPV proved that project 3 is better than project 1. Got it?
Okay, so this part is very clear. I mean, for me, that okay, the projects that look to be different, the actual story is quite different from what we perceived. Exactly. But in the last slide, if you can just repeat the calculation itself, the specific calculation of this net present value, because that's the part I think I missed in when the audio was not there. So if you can kindly repeat, for example, this value of each year, how you are calculating.
Okay, you remember this chart, previous chart?
Yes, I remember.
This chart. So just look at these values. 1 year 9091, second year 0.8264, third year 0.7513, and so on. 0.6830, 0.6209, all these values at 10% we know. So just I have copied these values there. 909, 9.9091, 0.8264, 7.13, 6830, and 6209. And what I'm doing is I'm multiplying this figure with this one, and I'm getting the estimated cash flow. So these are the present values. All are the present values. Then I will convert it into net present value. I'll sum it all up.
Right.
And that gives me a positive 618, which is a low figure, very low figure. Similarly, I have done the same thing with here, with all the projects.
Right.
These are the discount results. You can see that 0.9091, 0.8264, all this. So I have multiplied these with their whatever values were there. Last is internal rate of return. Now this is interesting because when we are resorting to NPV, and we like NPV a lot because this is a very good method, but the problem is, why are we banking on the rate given by the State Bank of Pakistan? Why should we be using that rate? Are we a bank that we should be governed by the State Bank of Pakistan? No, I am an individual. I am a businessman. I am whatever. So why should I be comparing myself with a bank? Because banks do not pay us anything. Do you think if I deposit some money in the bank and they are giving me profit out of it, they are not earning anything out of it? They are definitely making money out of it. And how do they make money? They invest my money into stock market and into many other businesses and make profits manifold.
Yes.
And give me just 10% or 5% or 7%. So basically, look at the businessman. A businessman, if invests money, you might have heard that businessman will never keep money in the bank because he can make more in investments. That is why he is not keeping money in bank. So only those people who are doing jobs or who are not doing any business would like to keep their money in the bank. So, if I do my own business, with say an investment of 100,000, I would definitely love to have it multiplied within a year. So at least twice or thrice, I would love to see it. 2 to 3 times I want to increase it. So businesses have much more potential than banks. Banks do not pay you anything. So why are we taking the rate of bank? Why don't you try to find what is the internal strength of my money, my business? So internal rate of return is basically not taking the rate of the bank, but it has utilized another formula, another method rather, using NPV is okay, but not the bank rate. So it says, we understand that if NPV comes out to be negative, it is bad. If NPV is 0, we are break even. If NPV is greater than 0, then we are good. So one thing is proven, that wherever the NPV is 0, we are at break even point. Right? So if I say, but find that percentage at which my project NPV becomes 0, that percentage is my internal rate of return. And naturally, that is difficult to find, and internal rate of return for every project will be different. Not like NPV that we took 10% and applied 10% to everyone. my IRR will be different for every project, but NPV will be zero. I want NPV to be zero. So what I do it by hit and trial. I say, okay, let us take the percentage to be 8%. For example, at 8%, if I calculate, my NPV comes out to be, for example, plus 8,000. Fine. I have one figure. Okay, let us take another figure, say 12%. At 12%, my NPV comes out to be minus 6,000. It has been proven through statistics that these 2 points, if joined through a straight line, will give me an approximate percentage, will cross an approximate percentage value, which will give me exact zero NPV. So I connect these 2 dots and see where this line passes the percentage line. So this passes at about 10.24. So I allocate 10.24 as my value of R, discount rate, and try to find my answer would be somewhere very close to zero. So by hit and trial, I can find that percentage at which my NPV becomes zero, and that point, that percentage is called IRR. Whichever project highest IRR, that is the winner. Actually, this is not
Okay.
if you make a graph, actually this is a curved line. But you see, if I find this point and draw a straight line, this is passing very close to this cover. So actual value will be a little higher or whatever. Got it?
When you talk about the 2 endpoints of this line, they are coming again from a certain. I mean, on this x-axis, we still have the percentage, right? So again, this is not driven by the bank. I mean, how we are determining these 2 endpoints?
I have just randomly taken a percentage. Say 5%. Say 20%. So I calculated one value on 1% and second value on another percentage and connected it in a straight line. That's it.
So if you do it again with another 2 numbers, again it will be intersecting this value at around the same point?
No, not at all. For every project, there will be a different value.
Right.
Some will be 10%, some will be 17%, some will be 22%. So whichever gives me the highest value of IRR, that is the best project.
Okay.
So as I said, I am just telling you these methods as a layman. You know, finance can tell you even more. You remember?
Right.
Have you ever taken a car on loan from bank?
Yes, I have.
So you know, when you go to the bank, they give you a very rosy picture. Well, it's
Yes.
only 2% IRR and this and that. So just to hook you on, they do not tell you the interest rate they are going to charge you. They tell you the IRR. So actually, they when किससे करती हैं, that is according to the interest rate, and interest rate is not 5% or 10% or 20%. They charge you something like 20-25%. वो तो भी साफ कर देते हैं.
Right.
Anyways, let's move on to the cost itself. Cost management, we devise all the policies regarding the cost, and that is the cost management plan. And naturally, if that is available, it provides guidance, direction on how the project cost will be managed throughout the project. Key concepts: project cost management is primarily concerned with the cost of resources needed to complete project activities. Project cost management should consider the effect of project decisions on the subsequent recurring cost of using, maintaining, and supporting the product, service, and result. I think the text you can read by yourself. I will move on.
Right.
So this is the first process, plan cost management. Here, as I said, schedule, plan, cost management, plan, schedule management, exactly the same. The only difference is the output is here is the cost management plan, and the output there was the schedule management plan. There is no difference whatsoever, except for you are getting the schedule management plan as an input here. So these are the inputs, the same tools and techniques, cost management plan. Basically, you are writing the guidelines and policies and procedures for the cost of this project. So this is what the cost management planning is. Then once we try to estimate the cost, here the things start getting interesting. Cost estimates are predictions. It is kind of a forecast. I'm predicting this much money will be spent on this job and this. I'm not sure about anything. I don't know what will the rates tomorrow, what will be the dollar parity tomorrow. But to the best of my knowledge, I am trying to predict how much this project will cost and each activity will cost. Cost estimates include identification and consideration of cost alternatives. So naturally, there could be more than one ways of doing the thing. So whichever is most cost effective alternative, I'll go for that. Then there are cost trade-offs also, like either should I do it myself or get it done from someone else. If I have to buy a machine, should I buy it or lease it? And how the resources I have got on permanent basis, how can I benefit by sharing them with others when they are free? So all these things are part of your cost estimate. You must select a unit of measure. Cost estimates are generally expressed in units of some currency, and that is good thing because currency is the most solid scale, and that is exactly why I said why not measure progress of schedule and scope also in money. So if we can measure everything in money, that would be fantastic, and that is the basis for earned value management. In some instances, other unit of measure can be used to facilitate comparisons, eliminating the effect of currency fluctuations, like staff hours or staff days. So this or even percentages, people are using percentages. I can't say they should stop using it, but until and unless they realize, they will keep doing in the percentage. So PMI allows that if you want to use the percentage method, keep using that. But it is always preferred to learn earned value and start using it. How accurate your estimate should be. Cost estimates should be reviewed and refined during the course of project to reflect additional details as it becomes available and assumptions are tested. Accuracy of project estimate will increase as the project progresses through the project lifecycle. At the beginning of the project, the things are not really very clear to me, and I may say this job will cost 10,000 rupees. But later, the things when they are getting clearer, I may realize, oh, this can be bought for 8,000 rupees. So I'm supposed to be amending the previous calculation, updating it. Then there are four types of estimates. We have lump sum estimates, we have rough order of magnitude estimates, we have got budgetary estimates, and definitive or descriptive estimates. The most detailed estimate is the definitive estimate. Budgetary estimate is also done here in the next process, that is allocate budget or allocate budget. So the people who are trying to give you the budget, they will have their own calculation, which is not as detailed as yours. Project manager does the definitive estimate, and the people who are trying to give him the budget, that is also fairly good, but that is not definitive. Therefore, that is called budgetary estimate. And before that, in business case development, in many other places, we are at the stage of chartering. The estimates in front of us are not accurate at all. They are very lump sum estimates or rough order of magnitude estimates. So we just can classify that at the time of feasibility, we are doing lump sum estimate. Lump sum estimate is just a ballpark figure which you have selected that this project will be done. And if you are an experienced person, your ballpark figure will land up -50 to +100% accurate. Meaning what? If you said this job can be done in 100,000 rupees, then it can be done between 50,000 and 2 lakh rupees. Rough order of magnitude is a little better, and it is at the time of initiation of the project. This could be as accurate as -25% to 75%, which means 1 lakh means 75,000 to 1 lakh 75,000. Budgetary estimate is like parametric estimate. You know a parameter and then you calculate it. So this is pretty remarkably true, but not exact. So this estimate could fluctuate, accuracy could fluctuate between -10 and +25. So if you said 1 lakh rupees, then it must be done, maybe done between 90,000 and 1 lakh 25,000. And even your definitive estimate may be very accurate, but still you are not sure what will happen to you. So keeping some margin for the corrections which will be applied later, this is the accuracy is -5 +10. Meaning what? If you estimated in detail that 1 lakh rupees are required, then 90,000 rupees to 1 lakh 10,000 rupees, this project can be done. Why it is important to tell you these types of estimates is because the person who will be giving you the budget would be keeping these figures in mind. So if he has estimated that he will give you, he likes to, his estimate, budgetary estimate is 100,000 rupees. So he would know that the closer your estimate is to his estimate, he will be the happiest person. If you also say 100,000, he will say, okay, that's exactly what I thought. But if you fluctuate, if you say 95,000 or 90,000, or 1 lakh 10,000, 1 lakh 15,000, 1 lakh 25,000. So between 90 and 1 lakh 25,000, he accepts the variation and he says, okay, looks okay. But you see, the farther you are from his estimate, more incisive he will be. He will check your basis for estimate, your calculations, your reasoning, argument, and wherever he can find some fault, he will fix that. But generally speaking, between 10 and 25, he will not have much of objection. But if your rate is much over 25 or much below 10, then he will be more incisive. He will then try to open up the whole audit process and see what figures have you taken, what rationals have you taken, and then he will point out to some flaws which you are supposed to correct, and then budget will be allocated according to that. Everything which will be tangible or intangible will be spent on the project must be calculated. All types of resources, all types of expenses must all be considered. The next process is estimate cost. Here we use the cost management plan, the quality management plan, the scope baseline, and the project documents will include the lessons learned, project schedule, resource requirements, and the risk register, and naturally the enterprise environmental factors and organizational assets. Tools we need to use here are almost similar to what we used in scheduling, but that was for the purposes of estimate duration, estimating the duration. Here we are trying to estimate the cost for the same activity. So expert judgment is there. Analogous estimating, you understand. Parametric estimating, like you see, construction cost is 4,000 rupees per square foot. How many square foot do you want? Multiply this by those square feet. This is your parametric estimate. So this is kind of a budgetary estimate, and this is good enough. But naturally, we want to go in a little bit more detail. So bottom-up estimating is also utilized. That is calculating each and every activity in detail, and then summing up all the costs to find the sum of the whole project. 3-point estimate, again in cost we use, and 3-point estimate, you remember, pessimistic, optimistic, and the most likely thing. So cost also have the same dimension. Data analysis, we will look at the various alternatives open to you. Best alternative must be cost benefit analysis, could be done on that. So you choose the best analysis, the best alternative out of it. Reserve analysis. How much are you keeping as a reserve at activity level and at work package level? Remember, the reserves are not supposed to be static. In army, what we used to do was, in all the calculations, there was a rule that at the end of the calculation, add 10% as reserve, which I do not agree, because from project to project, it will differ, even from activity to activity. There is an activity which can be given certain reserve, and there can be an activity which cannot be given a reserve. So the amount of reserve will change. If I am just calculating 1 kilo of say peas, then I can always ask for 10% extra. But if I'm buying a chair, how can I ask for 10% chair? Do you want a miniature chair, or you just want a part of chair? So therefore, certain things cannot be broken down. So the reserves cannot be kept. The only reason why should you keep a reserve for a chair is that the existence of chair is much more important, and you cannot exist without, your project will not continue without having the reserve. So you will need 100% reserve for a chair, either 0% or 100%. So this is not something that you can keep 10% reserve in everything. So this is it as far as the reserves are concerned. Then is the cost of quality. Naturally, quality does cost. If you want to improve the quality, you have to spend some money on it. And quality, there are two different kinds of cost. One is the cost of poor quality, and one is the cost of good quality. Cost of poor quality is when you make something wrong and then you correct your mistakes. That is the poor quality. Cost of good quality is the safety measures you build in, or the precautionary measures you take as if mistakes are not done. This is your cost of good quality. So the balance between them is the cost of quality, and you have to maintain this balance, and ultimately you will be most economical in spending for quality. But naturally, this is a subject of quality, and cost of quality we should be discussing there. Project management information system is there, decision making, voting, you understand. We will do the cost estimate, and as I said in schedule, also whatever you estimate, you must provide the basis of estimate. Project documents will be updated, assumption log, lessons learned, risk register, etc. So this is what it is. Thus, there is nothing new as far as the tools are concerned. Same tools are there. Let's determine the budget. This is, I have already told you budgetary estimate. This is the job of budgetary estimate. They estimate the budget, then they aggregate, you submit your estimate to them, they aggregate your estimates, find the total and check the total, and then they negotiate and discuss with you how much estimate is to be given. They have their objections, those are to be removed, and ultimately the budget is allocated at the activity level. I have seen that these people who are giving the budget, they do not allocate the budget down to the activity level, which is a very bad thing. Because as I said, every activity may have its own sensitivity. So this is the best, that you allocate the budget down to activity level, as if I know in which activity you have not given me enough funding, as if I can only make that activity suffer, rather than I ask you 100,000 rupees and you just give me 50,000 rupees. Why? There is no reason. What activities should suffer? You have not told me what budget you have given to each activity. You have given me a lump sum amount, and now you have left it on me on howsoever I spend it. So something important will be damaged. Therefore, budget must be allocated down to activity level. So we have the project management plan, which includes the cost and source and scope baseline. Project documents, basis of estimate must be provided, cost estimate is provided, project schedule must be in front of us, and risk register. Business documents must be with us, agreement and enterprise non-fixing process assets. Here you will, the tools are slightly different. You do the expert judgment, you do the cost aggregation. You just, take this, you do the addition. You say, okay, this work package is this much, this work package is this much. What is the total of these two? That kind of thing. So this is called aggregation. Data analysis is reserve analysis. You have put in the reserve, and these people are checking your reserve. They may ask you to reduce or increase the reserve. Historical information review could be very useful. And one other important function of determined budget is whatever budget they will give you, how is it going to be released? In how many installments and in how much amounts? So this is called funding limit reconciliation. So when should what be issued to you? How much fund should be issued at what point in time? So they will create a schedule for that. And the financing. Ultimately, the cost baseline will be established, which is the budget itself. And project funding requirements will also be established, how many installments and when, and project documents will be accordingly updated. Funding limit reconciliation. Expenditure of funds should be reconciled with any funding limits on the commitment of funds for the project. Naturally, you ask them that by this point, I need this much money. Now they are going to negotiate with you. Is this money really required for doing this job, or we have to adjust it? Okay, this diagram will show you how the project budget is divided into several components. You see, every activity has been estimated, and those activities which need to have certain reserve, some activities may have no reserve, some may have 10%, 5% reserve, some may have higher reserves like 40-50%, depending upon the sensitivity of the activity. So whatever are the reserves of the activities, they are calculated, and the activities within a work package are summed up along with their reserves. This is your work package cost estimate. Now, on top of work package, you also again can keep some reserve. So all the work packages in a control account are summed together to get the control account. Control account, because it's a financial matter. So in financial matters, we do not have reserves. Therefore, sum of all the control accounts becomes your cost baseline. And management keeps some reserve on top of the cost baseline with themselves. They don't give this money to you, but they keep some money for each project with themselves. Now, if I add the cost baseline we have calculated, okay, can you hear me now?
Just now, sir. I lost like 20 seconds, 15 seconds.
Okay. Let me explain this diagram from the beginning. All the activity estimates we have calculated, along with their reserves, we will sum up those activities which are in one work package, and that is going to give me the work package cost estimate. So there could be many work packages. So for each work package, I will sum up their activities along with reserves. And for each work package, I'll further keep some reserve, and all the work packages in a control account along with their reserves will be added to find the control account. Control account may be in a building is a room, wall is a work package, and plastering the wall is an activity. So control account, I'll sum up all the control accounts, all the rooms and all the things in the, all the control accounts in the construction of house. will give me the total cost baseline, and on top of that, management will keep some reserve, and if I add up these two things, that is the total project budget. But what I am supposed to be doing is within the cost baseline. Project budget is not available to me. Management reserves are not available to me. Only the cost baseline is available to me. And cost baseline will look like an S curve. Can you see this? It is a S curve. This is the cost baseline.
I can see.
Yeah. This is the cost baseline. This is the funding limit reconciliation, funding requirements. You see, you will be released this much money, which should be sufficient for you for this much time. Then you will get another installment, sufficient for this much time. This much installment, sufficient for this much time. And this much installment, which is your total budget, cost baseline, this much. If project is not complete, you may get management reserve to complete the project. Okay, is it clear?
Yes.
Finally, the control cost. Control cost, again, we have exactly the same pattern. Project management plan includes the cost management plan, cost baseline, and performance baseline. Project documents and lessons learned. Project funding requirement is the input. Work performance data is coming from execution, and organization process assets are required. What we do is, I use the expert judgment. I use the data analysis, which we have earned value analysis, variance analysis, trend analysis, reserve analysis. We talked about it, and I to complete performance index. Project management information system could be the input, could be one of the tools. And the work performance data I received from execution, after this analysis, I can convert it into work performance information. And just like schedule, I will draw my own cost forecast, and these two items will be sent back to the monitor and control project work. If I have any change request, that will be sent to perform integrated change controls. And in light of that, my project plan or project documents will be updated. Okay. Let me skip this and move on to earned value. Let me quickly explain what earned value is, as I was trying to do earlier also. You remember I mentioned that earned value has three key factors, three key items. Planned value. On the S curve, the way the budget is allocated to you, you are supposed to be doing things that way. Meaning, at any one point on the S curve, let me show you. Okay, for example, this is the S curve, and the highest point on this is budget at completion, the total budget for my project. Not exactly the management reserve, but the cost baseline. The total of the cost baseline is BAC, budget at completion. And any point on this chart shows that by this time, this is the time, by this time I should have spent this much money. By this time I should have spent this much money. By this time I should have spent this much money. Are you getting me? So this is already planned.
Yes, I understand.
So this is already planned. So the planned value, that is the budgeted cost of work scheduled. What is the work scheduled till this point, and how much money will you get for that? This is already decided. So planned value of all the points on the S curve are already existing. The things which I will get new would be the earned value or the actual cost. Earned value is whatever work I have done so far, how much is the money kept in budget for that much work. It is not asking you how much did you spend. It is saying the work you have completed so far, what is the amount kept in budget for that much work. So this is the budgeted cost of work performed. And actual cost is yet another dimension. That is how much money have you spent on the work you have completed so far. This is actual cost of work performed. So BAC we understand, budget at completion, the highest point. But if you are
Yes.
not working according to the plan and you are overspending or underspending or whatever, so you are likely not to be able to complete the project in BAC. So you must estimate at any point where you're standing how much now I think I will be spending. That is called estimate at completion. How much money would have been spent by the end of the project. That is estimate at completion. And that could be calculated by comparing, EAC, I'll tell you how to compute. But the difference between the two is called variance at completion. So variance at completion is equal to budget at completion minus estimate at completion. Naturally, we don't want to to spend more. We just want to spend as much as the budget at completion. So BAC is my main point to stand. So anything more I spend is bad for me. So BAC minus EAC means that if I am spending more than BAC, then my variance is negative, is bad. And if I'm spending less than that, then it is all right. Now, similarly, if you want to find the difference in schedule variance, how much schedule has not been met, or how much is the variance of schedule, you compare the PV and EV. What had to be, how much work had to be done, and how much work has been done. So, in money, how much work had to be done was 5,000 rupees work should have been done, but you have actually done less work, and that much work is in budget. That much work is of $4,000. So that means you are behind schedule. You could not complete what you promised. And how much did you spend? That is your actual cost. So difference between what you have done and what you have spent, EV and AC, is called cost variance. You did job worth 4,000 rupees. In budget, you had 4,000 to do that job, and you spent 8,000 rupees. That means 4,000 you have overspent. So, schedule variance is EV minus PV, and cost variance is EV minus AC. Okay. So these are the three values. You can read them from here. PV, I have explained everything about it. EV and AC, these are the definitions. And this is schedule variance. Schedule variance, as I said, how much have you done and how much had to be done. This is earned value is 4,000. You have accomplished 4,000, whereas you had to accomplish 5,000. So you are behind schedule by 1,000. 4,000 minus 5,000, you are behind schedule by 5,000. If you had done 8,000 earned value and planned value was only 4,000, 5,000, then 3,000 of work, you are ahead of schedule. That means highly likely that you will be able to complete the project earlier. Similarly, the cost variance, earned value minus actual cost. So, how much value you have earned? 4,000. How much money you have spent is 8,000. 4,000 minus 8,000, you are overspending by 4,000. So these are the formulas of SV and CV, and they can also be calculated through a more reliable method, that is through ratios. This is SPI and CPI, Scheduled Performance Index and Cost Performance Index, in which we don't we don't subtract PV from EV. Rather, we divide the EV by PV. This will give you a ratio, and that would be comparable with other projects as well. Similarly, CPI is EV divided by AC. The only difference is the minus sign is replaced by the division sign. And this is not now more authentic. This is called CPI, Cost Performance Index, and that is called SPI, Scheduled Performance Index. Okay. Right. One more thing, two more things, then I'll finish. One is what is EAC and how is it calculated? The simplest way of calculating EAC is whatever CPI value we have got so far. For example, the CPI, Cost Performance Index, shows we are at 0.8. You see, if EV divided by EV is equal to actual cost, if EV is equal to actual cost, if we have whatever we have done, we are exactly spent according to that, then both these amounts will be equal and the answer will be 1. That is the ideal. We want to achieve 1. But if this EV is more and actual money is less, that means I am spending less money doing more job. That is good. And the reverse of that would be I am spending more money and doing less job. That way your answer would be point something, 0.8, 0.9, something like that. So that is a bad situation. If my CPI is 0.8, I can compare it with my total budget. I can say if this much work I can do as bad as 0.8, then whole budget, how bad can I do? So just divide the whole budget, BSE, with 0.8. You will find how much extra money you will be spending. So, general formula for calculating is the second one. You can see here, EAC is equal to BSE divided by CPI. But in some cases, where we are already in the project, we are in the third, second, fourth report of the project, we know whatever we have spent so far. And we want to see what is the work left, what is the remaining work. The remaining work is, the total work is BSE, and the work I have accomplished so far is the earned value. If I subtract EV from BSE, that will give me the remaining work. So remaining work is say $10,000, and actual cost so far I have spent is 1,000. Then sum it all up, and this will give you estimate at completion. But this is again not this is a straight calculation. We are expecting that whatever has gone wrong will not go wrong again. To cater for that, I must divide this BSE minus EV portion by CPI, and that will give me even better calculation. And in some cases where CPI and SPI, people think that they have a combined effect, so they could do something like this. They could divide this not by CPI, as I said in the first case, but they divide it by the combination by the multiplication of CPI and SPI. So these are various methods of calculating estimate at completion. The last calculation which I was mentioning is TCPI. TCPI is two complete performance index. Two complete performance index means how much more effort you need to do, you need to put in to complete the work. So for that, I need to know two things. What is the work remaining and what is the cost remaining? As far as the work remaining is concerned, this is the work remaining, BAC minus EV. Total work minus whatever has been done. So what is not done is BAC minus EV. So work remaining is BAC minus EV, and the cost remaining is total budget minus what I have spent, BAC minus AC. So let me show you. Here you can see BAC minus EV divided by BAC minus AC. Forget about this other thing. BAC minus EV divided by BAC minus AC. So if the work remaining is more and I have less money, this is a very bad situation, because within less money I want to complete more work, so I have to work harder. I have to push my resources harder. But if the work remaining is more and work remaining is less and the funds available are more, then I can relax. If they are equal, then it is okay. So here in this case, values over 1 are bad because I have to work harder, and values under 1 are good because I just relax. But this is different from CPI and SPI, because in CPI and SPI, values equal to 1 or more than 1 are good and less than 1 are bad. So this is all about cost. I don't know if you got the last few things, last 10 minutes or not. Did you hear everything?
No, I understood partly, but I need to study more on this because it's a bit, the terms are a bit confusing, and maybe I need to practice more on this.
So what you can do is you can ask questions on whatever things are not clear to you next time. So when are we meeting next time?
Actually, most likely tomorrow I will be traveling to my hometown for 4 days. So I will be back on Tuesday. So it's like, yeah. So Wednesday will be the next time I will be available.
Fine. Wednesday, Thursday, whatever you want, we can adjust that. But now we don't have much to talk about. Few things are important. Risk management is very important. Procurement is a bit important, and quality is important. Rest everything is very simple.
Okay. Right.
So let's hope we complete in the next lecture, or maybe we take another extra one more, but it will be done.
Okay, great. So I will be back on Tuesday or Wednesday. Also, if you can share your bank details with me, I will transfer the amount. Also, it's still pending.
Okay, I'll email.
Yeah, probably on Wednesday morning, I will deposit the amount.
Sure. Okay, sir. Let's call it a day. Thank you very much, and
Thank you so much. Take care, ji. Khuda Hafiz.